2022 is at an end, and the Office of the Parliament had a most productive year. In January, the presiding officer of the Tobago House of Assembly, the Honourable Abby Taylor, along with the deputy presiding officer and a contingent of assemblymen and staff, made a two-day working visit to the Office of the Parliament on January 18th and 19th. The tour saw the team visiting several departments to better understand daily operations. The presiding officer, along with the deputy presiding officer, Assemblyman Joel Sampson, also paid a courtesy call on the presiding officers of the Parliament, where they were presented with tokens of appreciation. On February 9th, the President of the Senate, the Honourable Christine Kangaloo, and Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honourable Bridget Anisette George MP, received His Excellency Tatsuo Hirayama, Ambassador of Japan to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, on a joint farewell courtesy call at the Red House. Second Secretary Ms. Megumi Meikawa also accompanied His Excellency on the visit. And on February 23rd, the presiding officers jointly received His Excellency Elkan Polokov, Ambassador of the Republic of Azerbaijan, on his appointment to CARICOM. His Excellency was welcomed with tokens of appreciation and good wishes by both presiding officers. 14th March was observed as Commonwealth Day for 2022. The annual event is observed every year across the world on the second Monday in March, and this year's theme was Delivering a Common Future. The Office of the Parliament recognized the day with a tree planting ceremony. The Speaker of the House was assisted in planting the national flower, the double chaconia, by 7-year-old agriculturalist Jalen Edwards of Wim Anglican Primary School in Tobago and the Express newspaper Youth of the Year for 2021. While President of the Senate received the help of 17-year-old Jalene Forbes of the St. James Secondary School in planting the Lignum Vitae, also known as the Tree of Life. The Mayor, His Worship Alderman Joel Martinez, was also invited to participate in the symbolic gesture. The Office of the Parliament put on an art exhibition for International Women's Day 2022 through the Rotunda Gallery at the Red House. Artists were asked to submit pieces on the theme, Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. 2022 was pivotal for achieving gender equality in the context of climate change and environmental and disaster risk reduction, which are some of the greatest global challenges of the 21st century. Without gender equality today, a sustainable future and an equal future remains beyond our reach. This year's International Women's Day observance was in recognition and celebration of the women and girls who are leading the charge on climate change adaptation and response, and to honor their leadership and contribution towards a sustainable future. April is Health and Fitness Month at the Office of the Parliament. Employees were able to know their numbers in height, weight, HIV status, blood pressure readings, cholesterol, and counseling if needed. There were also dental and glaucoma screenings and a Zoom lecture on sexual health. There were also giveaways of healthy food alternatives by local companies. Dr. Paula Henry, the daughter of the late Dr. Cuthbert Joseph, paid a courtesy call on Speaker of the House on April 1st. The purpose of the visit was to present the autobiography of Dr. Cuthbert Joseph to the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. Joseph served as a member of the House of Representatives and in a number of ministerial capacities from 1971 to 1986. Dr. Henry signed the visitor's book and received a token of appreciation from Madam Speaker. The Rotunda Gallery's exhibition for April was titled Wonders of the Universe, Time and Astronomical Art, in commemoration of the International Day of Human Space Flight. The exhibition featured 42 artists of all ages, with a total of 53 works. The exhibition also had a piece on show from an artist from Tobago, Shanari Richardson. All works in the show were a combination of mixed media pieces, photography, acrylic, and oil paintings. The gallery also collaborated with the National Institute of Higher Education, NIHUST, to provide some interactive displays along with information on their NASA NIHUST internship project. And also in April, another courtesy call, this time a joint one on the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House. The presiding officers received His Excellency Arun Kumar Sahu, High Commissioner of India to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. His Excellency was warmly received and given tokens of appreciation after signing the visitor's book. His Excellency was also taken to the House chamber and shown the Speaker's chair, which was donated to this country by India upon our independence in 1962. In May, His Excellency Fang Yi, Ambassador of the People's Republic of China, was received by Vice President of the Senate, Senator Dr. Muhammad Yunus Ibrahim, at the A&R Robinson Diplomatic Reception Lounge. After signing the visitor's book and engaging in cordial discussions, tokens of appreciation were exchanged. In commemoration of International Day of Families held on 15th May each year, the Rotunda Gallery held the art exhibition Life Through the Eyes of a Child. The exhibition featured a combination of mixed media pieces, acrylic paintings, and numerous drawings by over 40 artists of varying ages. The exhibition showcased art pieces of children 17 years old and under and also welcomed family collaborations. The youngest featured artist was just 9 months old. The Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago participated in the parliamentary gathering held on the 9th Summit of the Americas, which took place in Los Angeles, United States on June 6th and 7th. The delegation was led by the Honorable Bridget Anisette George MP, Speaker of the House, and included Independent Senator Anthony Vieira and Parliamentary Legal Officer Ms. Angelique Messiah. Madam Speaker and Senator Vieira serve as Vice President of Parlamerica's and the Vice President of Parlamerica's Climate Change Network for the Caribbean, respectively. The theme for the summit this year was Building a Sustainable, Resilient and Equitable Future. And for June, in commemoration of World Environment Day, the Rotunda Gallery hosted the art exhibition Towards a Circular Economy, Imagining an Unpolluted Earth Through Art. The exhibition encouraged artists to use recycled materials or elements of recycled materials in innovative ways to depict the circular economy. 30 artists of varying age produced over 40 artworks, with the youngest artist being 9 years old. Works were also featured by returning artists and even students at the St. Jude School for Girls. After a 2-year pause, chamber tours were restarted in person at the Parliament for the July-August holidays. Members of the public were once again welcomed to guided tours of the House of Representatives and the Senate. Visitors were taught about the history of the Parliament and its procedures and members. Each tour ended with a visit to the art exhibition at the Rotunda Gallery. The Parliamentary Women's Caucus of Trinidad and Tobago held its inaugural meeting on 12th July. This caucus gathers together women members of Parliament from across different party lines with the purpose of providing peer support to foster gender equality legislative and policy agendas. Activities include gathering data, conducting research, creating partnerships with allies within and outside the Parliament, facilitating public discussions, raising awareness of key issues, promoting civic education, and learning from experiences in other countries. The attendees were female members of the second session of the 12th Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. July 27th will always be a day of remembrance in Trinidad and Tobago. The Office of the Parliament holds a wreath-laying ceremony each year in memory of the 1990 attempted coup d'etat. The Senate President and Vice President were accompanied by processional marchers from the Parliamentary Police Unit to the Eternal Flame. After each laid a wreath, a moment of silence followed. Then the playing of the last post. Also at the Rotunda Gallery, a specially curated exhibition as a tribute to that fateful event. The display included paintings of public scenes from the chaos that ensued, individuals involved in the dark affair, literature that was born from that painful event, and first-hand accounts of that day from staff of the Office of the Parliament who experienced the trauma. And July's Rotunda Gallery exhibition aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals number 4, Quality Education, Goal number 8, Decent Work and Economic Growth, and Goal number 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. The exhibition, entitled The Movement of Figures, the Synergy of Art and Dance, depicted the movement of the human form, the many forms of dance that are present in Trinidad and Tobago, and the dances that have influenced us. Over 60 artists of all ages, 7 of whom were children, created more than 80 artworks that were displayed in the gallery and virtually. The youngest artist was Avani Diosaran, who was just 4 years old. 2022 was the Diamond Jubilee of our nation, and the Office of the Parliament marked the auspicious occasion of our 60th anniversary with an art exhibition titled The Diamond Jubilee, A Parliamentary Story. The works of 40 artists of all ages were on show, with a combined 50 artworks. The youngest artists were both 10 years old. The artists selected all had interesting interpretations of the theme, and pieces ranged from digital art illustrations, photographs, sculptures, quilling, and even gemstones. His Excellency Yutaka Matsubara, new ambassador of Japan to Trinidad and Tobago, paid a joint courtesy call on the presiding officers of the Houses of Parliament on August 12th. Senator the Honourable Christine Kangaloo and the Honourable Bridget Anisette George MP received His Excellency at the A&R Robinson Diplomatic Reception Lounge. After signing the visitor's book and exchanging tokens, cordial discussions were held. His Excellency was accompanied by Second Secretary Ms. Megumi Mekawa. Also in August, members of Parliament attended the 65th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference that was held in Halifax, Canada, from August 20th to 26th. The theme of the conference was Inclusive, Accessible, Accountable and Strong Parliaments, the cornerstone of democracy and essential for development. During the 65th conference, there were also several additional conferences and meetings, including the 7th Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians Conference, which was attended by Speaker of the House, the Honourable Bridget Anisette George MP, and Member for Dabadi O'Meara, the Honourable Lisa Morris-Julian. Another meeting included the Regional Champions of the Commonwealth Parliamentarians with Disabilities Network, which was attended by Senator Paul Richards, who was elected as Vice Chairperson of the Commonwealth Parliamentarians with Disabilities Network. September 12 saw the ceremonial opening of the third session of the Houses of Parliament at the Red House. Pomp and circumstance marked the affair as Her Excellency, President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Paula May Weeks, inspected the Guard of Honor before addressing a joint sitting of the Parliament. After returning to their respective chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives concluded their business and were adjourned. The Finance Minister, the Honourable Colm Imbert, presented the annual budget estimates for 2023 on September 26th. The Appropriation Financial Year 2023 Bill 2022 put draft estimate revenue at $56.175 billion, while draft estimate expenditure was $57.685 billion, leaving a deficit of $1.51 billion. Estimates were calculated based on an assumption of US $92.50 per barrel of oil and US $6 per MMBTU for natural gas. After heads of expenditures were examined, the budget bill was passed in the lower house on 11th October and introduced in the Senate on the 12th. Debate ensued and the bill was passed on October 14th. The Honourable Bridget Anisette George received a courtesy call on September 9th from Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Kingdom of Spain, His Excellency Fernando Nogales Alvarez. His Excellency was invited to sign the visitor's book, and after some discussions, tokens of appreciation were exchanged as symbols of cooperation between the two nations. For the month of September, the Rotunda Gallery hosted the Women in Art Organization of Trinidad and Tobago. The exhibition was entitled Signs, and the pieces reflected signs of hope, love, joy, motivation, and camaraderie. The exhibition ran from 19 September to Friday, 14th October. October 10th is World Mental Health Day, and the Rotunda Gallery, in collaboration with Mindwise TT and PAHU, presented an exhibition titled Healing Through Art. The mental health collaboration was part of the regional PAHU WHO stigma reduction campaign, where countries all over the region are executing initiatives to reduce stigma around mental health through encouraging sharing of stories and other actions, hoping to encourage persons to seek and receive help on their way to recovery from crisis. This exhibition also sought to align with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 3, good health and well-being. On October 12th, the Santa Rosa First Peoples community held a smoke ceremony at the monument on the grounds of the Red House. The event was to commemorate the First Peoples of Trinidad and Tobago. Member of Parliament for Arima, the Honourable Penelope Beckles-Robinson, and the Mayor of Port of Spain, His Worship Alderman Joel Martinez, addressed the attendees before the smoke ceremony began. Every year, special guests made up of other indigenous Caribbean communities from Guatemala, Venezuela, Suriname and Guyana are invited to the event. On the day of Remembrance, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Honourable Bridget Anisette George MP, laid a wreath at the monument to honour the First Peoples of Trinidad and Tobago. The Commonwealth Youth Parliament was held in Trinidad and Tobago under the theme Youth Involvement in Parliamentary Democracy. The series of activities included a roadshow at the Woodbrook Secondary School, where students were addressed by the Secretary General of the CPA, the Speaker of the House, and MP Keith Scotland. The panel also answered the many questions the students had regarding the Commonwealth Youth Parliament and the workings of Parliament in general. The highlight of the 4-day event was the parliamentary debate on the Remote Workplace Bill 2022. The delegates also attended sessions where they were instructed on parliamentary procedure, interacted with current MPs in several panel discussions, and faced the press where they fielded questions from members of the media. The Committee for the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women, CEDAW, celebrated 40 years of existence in October. Part of marking the milestone was collaborating with the Rotunda Gallery at the Red House to host an art exhibition on December 4th under the theme, Honoring Womanhood, Eliminating the Scourge of Violence. Addressing those gathered were resident representative of the United Nations Development Programme, Mr. Gerardo Noto, Ms. Janelle Maharaj, Planning and Coordination Specialist at UN Women, and Professor Rhoda Reddock, CEDAW Committee member. The exhibition was meant to coincide with the 16 days of activism for the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women. And that's a roundup of the major highlights at the Office of the Parliament for 2022. From all of us here at the Office of the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago, we wish you a bright and prosperous 2023.